Claus made the cut. Fox and Friends starts now.
And we begin with a Fox News alert. A man is arrested after allegedly setting fire to a sleeping subway passenger in New York City, killing the innocent women. And sources tell us the suspect is in the country illegally.
Madeline Rivera joins us now with the details on this horrible story. Maddie?
Yeah, the details are certainly disturbing, guys. We do want to warn viewers the video you're about to watch is graphic. This happened Sunday morning. The NYPD says a person of interest whom they now have in custody and the victim were both riding the F subway train bound for Stillway Avenue in Brooklyn. As the train pulled into the station, the suspect walked up to the victim and lit her on fire. Flames quickly overcame the woman, and in one of the most chilling, perhaps, of this incident, police say the suspect did not leave. Instead, he sat on a bench on the platform just outside the train car. Video appears to show the suspect watching the victim burn. Because he did not leave, the police officers, through their body cameras, were able to get images of the suspect. They distributed those, and the NYPD says 3 high schoolers recognized the suspect. Sources tell Fox News Digital the suspect is 33-year-old Sebastian Zapata. While police did not identify the person of interest, a high-level NYPD source told Fox News Digital the individual entered the U.S. illegally from Guatemala in 2018 when President-elect Trump was president during his first term. The person of interest has no prior arrests in New York City and 1 prior arrest in Arizona, the source said, though details about the arrest were not available.
At this hour, I am pleased to announce that a short time ago, alert NYPD transit officers took a person of interest into custody. I want you to know that this apprehension was another in what has become a series of joint efforts involving different crimes between the police and the public we serve.
So now this is the post that New York Governor Kathy Hochul is being criticized for. She said on X, "In March, I took action to make our subway safer for the millions of people who take the trains each day. Since deploying the National Guard of New York to support the NYPD and the MTA safety efforts and adding cameras to all subway cars, crime is going down and ridership is going up." New York Democratic Congressman Richie Torres called her post tone deaf. Guy, Carly, and Brian.
All right, Maddie, thanks so much. Tone deaf, yeah, to say the least. I mean, you're sitting there touting the safety of the subways, and this is hours after someone was lit up on live because she nodded off on a subway train. Can you imagine? Is there a more horrific way to die?
It's almost too horrible to fathom or even discuss. And unfortunately, we're put in this position because of allegedly what that man that you see on your screen did. And to make matters worse, this surveillance video appears to show that the suspect sat on a bench and watched this woman burn to death as police were already starting to respond to the scene. He stayed at the scene of the crime. And going back to Kathy Hochul's tweet and her touting that the subway system has become safer under her leadership, it wasn't only this that happened. Yesterday on a Queens subway, 2 people were stabbed and a 37-year-old died.
Yeah, so 2 killings in the subways, and you can say this is, bad timing for Governor Hochul to have put out this self-congratulatory tweet on subway safety. Yes, it's bad timing. It's also bad policy. That's why we're getting this problem. And it's been an issue now for years. I think Hochul very belatedly is catching up to the political reality. But the mess has already been made, and it's going to take a long time and quite possibly completely new leadership to change anything, because the current constellation of New York leadership has been a disgrace on this issue. We're just learning a few things about this suspect, including that he's in the country illegally, allegedly from Guatemala, with a criminal record in another state. It would make sense for someone like that to come to New York, a sanctuary jurisdiction where he could just hang out until he decides to burn someone to death.
So, Guy, my sense is that we're going to find out this guy's got much more of a criminal history. Yeah. I don't think you indiscriminately burn somebody alive and think to yourself, I've never done anything like this before.
Right, you don't jump to that.
Yeah, that's my sense. But the other thing to keep in mind, too, is that the cover of the New York Post, I'm watching local coverage just to see how local coverage is. They never bring up his legal status. They say a New York. It's a main part of the story. We know people commit crimes, but when illegal immigrants come here, many as criminals, to commit more crimes, you say to yourself, if the government does its job, we would not be in this type of danger. And I also think that this all plays into the bigger picture of why you need massive deportation and begins with criminals.
Yeah, no, that's right. And Eric Adams, and he recognizes that. And that's why he sat down and spoke to Tom Homan and says, you got to get the criminal migrants out of the city. But his hands are tied because not only is New York City a sanctuary city, it's also in a sanctuary state, which goes to the point of Kathy Hochul and policy change that she needs to take leadership under. I mentioned Tom Homan because yesterday he was in Arizona and he introduced Donald Trump, who was speaking at America Fest. And Donald Trump laid out his day one priorities, and you better believe the border control and getting criminal illegal immigrants out of this country is among them.
On my first day back in the Oval Office, I will sign a historic slate of executive orders to close our border to illegal aliens and stop the invasion of our country. And on that same day, we will begin the largest deportation operation in American history, larger even than that of President Dwight D. Eisenhower. The DEA, the FBI, the intelligence community, and financial sanctions to remove the migrant gangs and criminals that are killing and raping and maiming our citizens. We're going to get them out. We're going to get them out. We're going to get them out fast. We have no choice.
So he's going to get him out. That isn't a big surprise. The way we do it, know that it's just weeks away. People should be ready for it. And I thought one thing the president did yesterday, he did a lot. I thought the speech was fantastic. Number one, he's got a real sense of history. He's always bringing up Eisenhower. He's bringing up McKinley yesterday. Yeah. And he's bringing it because Eisenhower did it. And he also knows that Eisenhower is considered relatively a top president, respected. And he's like, what I'm trying to do is nothing that other past presidents haven't done. And by the way, Charlie Kirk, a fantastic job for what he did on the ground with Turning Point, because he was the ground game in many situations. And then yesterday with how many, 20,000 to show up to see him. So President, just on the illegal immigration, he knows he's going criminal first, and then he's going to people overstayed their visas, and then he's going to get to the next wave. It'll take about a year and a half just to get the criminals out.
There are so many people in this country illegally who have subsequently not just been accused of additional crimes, convicted of additional crimes. That is the easiest low-hanging fruit to start with. And there's also over 1 million people in this country illegally with active deportation orders already against them. Right. So you put that group together, we're talking about millions of people. And if you want to look at the polling, Brian and Carly, through the years, these deportation ideas have been unpopular until very recently. And I think the reason is the type of story that we led with. In the subways of New York, people say, get that type of person who has no right to be here, harming our folks, out of the country. And now it's majority supported. People are sick of this.
And you better believe that a majority of these people are in sanctuary cities and states for obvious reasons. And the Wall Street Journal has an interesting piece that was just released. The editorial board asks, are Democrats in sanctuary states trying to attract illegal immigrants to compensate all the people that are leaving, the legal people leaving their country?
Method to the madness?
Yeah, voting with their feet. Look at these numbers. So in California, 361,057 migrants moved in, 240,000 residents moved out. New York, 200,000 migrants moved in, 120,000 residents moved out. Illinois, 112,000 migrants moved in, 56,000 residents moved out. New Jersey, similar trend, 130 migrants moved in, 35,000 residents moved out. So one of the things that they bring up is the census, and illegal immigrants are counted in the census. So if you have migrants moving into the country, then the representation stays or increases. If more migrants move in, then people are moving out. I think it's a fair question to ask.
They want those residents to count for their numbers. And by the way, the stats that we just put up on the screen there, that's what we know, right? Because a lot of these people are living in the shadows. So they're very specific looking numbers, but I guarantee you those stats undercount the actual influx of illegal immigrants, especially into places like California.
And just by the way, they follow our news, illegal immigrants, potential illegal immigrants, coyotes, better than we do, right? They have great. How many moves to the border are not happening now because they know who's president, who's coming in? So how many people are going to go, it's not worth it to sacrifice my house and my family to get those $25,000 to give to somebody who's going to bring me to the border and then get me through? and find those holes in the border.
Strong messaging
Yeah.
might already be helping the situation.
Tom Homan in 15 minutes will be here because they know the flip side of this. And the reason, back to your point, Guy, the reason why more people are into mass deportation now, I think, is because they know you don't turn off the Hispanic audience and the potential Hispanic voters just because you're cracking down on the border. It was conventional wisdom. You crack down on the border, wrong message to Hispanics. And now they're saying, no, right message. I came here the right way, and don't lump me in with people trying to break the law.
And criminals, right? They're like, we want the criminals gone.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want the criminals gone?